Car Obsession is proudly supported by Exchange My Car, Carly and Draggy. For a limited time only, use Car Obsession 10 to get money off with Carly, and there's also a discount code for Draggy as well, which again is Car Obsession 10. All of the details are in the video description below. Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another walk around. This time I'm joined by the Audi TT RS. I know, I'm a lucky boy. So as always, I will take you around the car, talk you through the specification and give you my first impressions. Now, if you happen to be new to my channel, firstly, hello, thank you for watching. My name is Aaron, and secondly, my walk around videos are kind of like a guided tour around the vehicle / static review. Now, there will of course be a driving review coming in the forthcoming week, so be sure to look out for that, and of course be sure to subscribe and to click the bell. But anyway, enough plugging. So yes, this is the Audi TT RS. Some of you may remember that back in 2019 I drove the Audi TTS, which is of course the less powerful car, but it still has a fair poke to it. Now, the main talking point of this car is the engine. So in fact, what am I doing back here? Let's go to the front so I can show you the power plant that is lurking underneath the Nardo grey paintwork. Right, haha. Are you ready, guys? Oh, look at it. It is an absolute peach. So this is, of course, the 2.5 litre 5-cylinder turbocharged petrol, which offers 400 horsepower and 480 newton meters of torque. If you prefer that in pound-feet, I will of course drop a subtitle below. Now, as you would expect, power is fed to all four wheels using Audi's iconic legendary quattro system and a 7-speed S Tronic semi-automatic gearbox, so you can't have this with a manual. But to be fair, the S Tronic works very, very well indeed. Now, it's time for me to quantify the performance with some stats. We all love performance stats, don't we? So this all hit 62 miles per hour in just 3.7 seconds. It's 3.7, very rapid indeed. And the top speed, as you can imagine, is limited to 155. However, if you select the right option or the right trim level, you can have a top speed of 174 miles per hour. Mind you, having said that, in the UK, top speeds are kind of irrelevant because, let's face it, you're never really going to hit them, not unless you somehow stray into an area of Mexico. Now, in regards to fuel economy, yeah, let's face it, it's not really why you would buy this car, but on a combined run, Audi states that you can get up to 31.7 miles to the gallon. In regard to CO2 emissions, I will of course drop that in as a subtitle. So not the greenest of cars, but hey, you wouldn't expect it to be. And to be fair, it's going to be a lot greener than that car over there. So I've got a fellow YouTuber and good friend of the channel, Pocket Rockets. He has brought down the Mustang today, and we've filmed both cars. So that content will be ready to watch at some point on our new joint channel, Those Two Car Guys. So be sure to check that out. I will put the link to the channel below in the video description. So yes, needless to say, this is a very, very potent car. And I love the fact that it's got the 5-pot because it adds the character that the TTS was missing. I'm not too sure if I've mentioned it, but I drove the TTS back in 2019. And whilst it was a good car, it just felt a bit cold, a little bit emotionless. Now, speaking of emotionless, this does of course make a great noise, and I will dub in a clip of the exhaust noise, but sadly, because cars are getting greener, this is fitted with a petrol particulate filter. Therefore, some of the snarliness, some of the crackles, the barks, the aggressiveness from the exhaust and the engine have been lost. But to counter that, this TTRS, I should say, has been fitted with an optional extra, and that is the RS Sport exhaust. And yes, it does sound pretty fruity, still not as good as the TTRS from a few years ago, but hey, these things have to be in place to enable these cars to still exist in this very stringent world of emissions. But yeah, it still sounds pretty good. Now, speaking of options, this car's been peppered with a few, not too many. So I've got the RS Sport exhaust, which I believe is £995. I've got the luggage and storage pack, that's £175. I've got the red brake calipers. These would normally be finished in black. The price of these I will have to dub in as a subtitle. I've got the comfort and sound pack, which I believe is about £1,200, give or take. I may be wrong. And the only other option I can think of from memory is the red styling pack inside, which that's quite an expensive option. I believe that's over £1,000, but you get lovely red accents in the interior. The stitching, I believe, is a no cost option. And you've got more red detailing on the center console and around the air vents, which look like mini turbines. That's really fantastic. And I love the seat belts. Look at that red piping either side. Yeah, that gets a big thumbs up from me. As I mentioned, I've got the comfort and sound pack. Therefore, I have the Bang & Olufsen sound system. And yes, it sounds pretty good indeed, but you would expect it. So let me take you off my mini tripod, so I've got a bit more flexibility, and I can show you the cabin. And what I love about the cabin of the TT RS, it's very driver focused. It's very minimalistic. It's got what you need, but no more. So if I step inside, I make myself comfortable, which frankly is very, very easy. Close the door like so. Now for starters, I love the steering wheel. It's trimmed with leather and Alcantara. It's a very nice item to hold. It just feels beautiful when you're driving along. Better still, you have the engine start-stop button on the wheel, which feels very race car like, very supercar. It almost makes this car feel like a baby R8. And I think that's a really good way of describing the TT RS. This is pretty much a baby R8. You've also got the drive select button on the left-hand side as well. You may have noticed I have no touchscreen. I have no infotainment system. That is because it's all controlled via the virtual cockpit in front of me. So if I turn on the ignition, so yes, I've got the 12.3 inch virtual cockpit, which looks as beautiful as ever, and everything's controlled through here via a rotary dial down here, which I actually prefer, because it means when you're driving along, you're not having to faff about trying to find something on a touchscreen. It's all in front of you, and yeah, I actually prefer that. So car makers, take note. Also, you've got very few buttons for the climate control. They're actually you've got little screens here. Can you see that? So that's obviously for your temperature, and it's all here. And then that's obviously to change blower speed. And then either side, so you've got heated front seats. So that's obviously for the passenger, and that is for the drivers. Actually, I've got mine on. I've got mine on. Let's turn that off. And yes, so the Audi virtual cockpit is beautiful. I love that Google Maps view, and of course you can change the view like so. And there's so many different settings you can play about with this. So yes, a very pleasing thing to use. Of course, I've got paddles on the steering wheel as well, which do feel nice, but I would like them to be a bit larger. They do feel a little bit shrunken somewhat. Now, to go back to the drive select button, I have a choice of 4 driving modes. So if I just zoom you guys in, you'll see I've got comfort, auto, dynamic, or individual. So all quite standard affair, isn't it? Down here, you've got a button to change the exhaust sound. So you've got either, I think it's standard. Yeah, so you've got standard or sport. And that you get that function as standard, but of course, as I've mentioned, I do have the optional exhaust, which sounds pretty fruity. So yes, a very driver-focused cabin. Now, I have been out in the Mustang over there with pocket rockets, and to compare to the two cars, the TT RS, the cabin is definitely, I'm not going to say more cramped, that would be rude. It's more snug. I think that's a better way of putting it. But it feels more driver focused. It's much more minimalistic, and it's a cleaner and more upmarket interior. I love these inlays. They're really, really nice. And they just feel premium. It's a very upmarket cabin. You've got more leather and Alcantara here as well. And I really like this interior. It is a nice place to be. Now, on to the more boring things, such as practicality. As you can see, I can fit a 1 litre bottle into the door bin, but I do need to write it down. Is that 1 litre or 750 millilitres? Bear with me. That's 1 litre, yeah. Oh, and now it's on the floor. So yes, so you can fit a 1 litre bottle in there. You do have 2 cup holders, one here. You've got a slot for the key, which I do really like. And you've got a secondary cup holder here, or you can fold it away and just do that. You may have spotted it also got a 12 volt socket in there as well, charging port. You've got 2 USB ports in here, which you can't really see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 2 USB ports, an auxiliary lead port, and you do have a wireless phone charging pad. Although, top tip for you, a very specific top tip, if you happen to own, like me, a Samsung S22 Ultra, that is too big to fit in. So yes, if you've got a big phone, or more of a phablet, so to call it, that won't fit in. So just bear that in mind. That's pretty much it when it comes to practicality. As you can imagine, there isn't a great deal of it given the type of car it is. Of course, we've got the glove box, which I haven't mentioned, lined with fabric, but it isn't the largest. And you may have spotted, you've got slots for SD cards, SIM card, and you've even got a CD player. Look at that. A bit retro, isn't it? But yeah, the glove box isn't the largest. It's got enough space for my hay fever stuff and a few other bits, but it's got what you need. Now, for those of you that are wondering whether I'm going to treat you to some comedic value by trying to get into the back, then no, you're not going to see that here. The back is borderline pointless. Now I thought, okay, surely you can fit children or babies in the back. Well, that's really dark, isn't it? Let me bring you that side's a bit better. Yeah, I actually put my daughter in here, my baby daughter, in her car seat, obviously, yesterday. And okay, the car seat is a bit chunky, but I found that even with a baby's car seat in the back, it was still cramped, and my poor wife had to sit really far forward. So you'd think that for children or for babies, there would be like enough space, but no. Okay, maybe a larger child that doesn't need a big clunky kind of car seat, but yeah. Obviously, you wouldn't buy this car for practicality anyway, because you'd have to be stark raving mad to do that. Realistically, the rear seats are pretty much just an extension of the boot. Speaking of which, let me show you the boot. Let me step out, like so. Now, one thing I do find a little bit disappointing, bearing in mind this car is quite pricey, that you don't have any electronic adjustment for the seat. Well, actually, I'll take that back. You do have an electronic lumbar support, but that's it. Everything else is all manual, and you have to use manual labour, which, yeah, not overly pleased with Audi, but it is what it is. I don't think I've mentioned prices yet, but the standard RS has a starting price of around £60,000. This car has been treated with a few options, so it's around £64,000. So a fair amount of cash, but you do get a lot of performance for your money. Now, as always, the boot is crammed with my filming crap, and literally crammed on this occasion. There's very little space left, but I will cut to a clip where the boot is a little more empty. As you can imagine, the boot isn't the most practical. It offers 305 litres, which isn't a great deal, and nowadays I don't lug about as much filming stuff as I used to, but even so, as you can see, it's it's tight. You can of course fold down the rear seats to give you more space, and I will drop that capacity as a subtitle. But yeah, if you're looking for, well, to be fair, if you were to have a weekend away with your partner, like I say, you can always just sling some stuff on the rear seats. As you can see, you've also got netting on the back of the front seats, and you do have well, I was going to call them door bins, but obviously there's no door there, but you do have little storage bins in there as well as a little armrest for comfort. But yeah, the back of the TT RS is not going to be that comfortable. As you can see, okay, granted that seat is set for my height, I'm 6'2", but there's very little in the way of leg room. But I suppose that goes without saying, really. Right, let's close down the boot like so. I I don't think there's much else to go through with you actually. Yeah, in some respects there isn't a great deal to this car because I can't really show you rear space because, you know, I'm blessed with height. The boot is quite small, gone through the engine of course, but yeah, I think it's a really good looking car and I love the interior. I will give you another shot of the interior, but look at that, I love that steering wheel. Just looks so classy, so sporty as well. And the seats, I'm not giving you a proper look at the seats, but yes, they are really nice. The front seats are heated, as I may have mentioned. These seats are really comfortable, but they're still supportive. Whereas in the Mustang, they're comfortable, but the bolsters are quite floppy. They don't really hold you in place that well. But yeah, got the RS logo as well, just to remind you that you're driving something a bit special. But to give you a better shot of the rear seats, that's what they look like. And yeah, they are not really that usable for the majority of people. And just one more thing, to go back to the car seat situation, one thing I will say is, due to the shape of the rear seats, there was quite a large gap between the seat and the car seat because the car seat wouldn't quite mould to that seat properly. But that's just a kind of obviously many of you, probably aren't too interested in that. But for those of you putting a car seat in here, just be aware that it's likely to take up more room than you might imagine. So that's kind of a parenting top tip there. And there we go. I'll give you one more look around the car. I've had a few Audis, I'm very lucky to say, but believe it or not, this is the first Audi I've had that's finished in Nardo Grey. So yeah, a bit surprising, because pretty much the whole of Audi's fleet seems to be painted in Tango Red, but never mind. But look at that. I just love how purposeful it looks. It's aggressive but kind of stubby at the same time. Okay, granted it hasn't got as much presence as that car over there. The thing is, you know a Mustang when you see it. But I'm not here to talk about the Mustang, so let's zoom out. But yeah, the TT RS is a proper weapon. I do hope you enjoy my content with it. I've been waiting a very, very, very long time to get my hands on this car, but you know what they say, good things come to those who wait. Just look at that. Whoa, it looks mean. It looks, yes, it's got purpose about it, hasn't it? Anyway, that is time for me to finish. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. I found it useful. If you've got any questions on the car, please drop them in the comment section below and I will answer them as quickly as I can and to the best of my ability. But yes, if you have enjoyed it, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.